call me Mystic Mac because I predict these things.
Yeong Lee takes on Daniel Santos this Saturday on the prelims of UFC 315, and I think this is going to be an action-packed fight. Both these guys are very exciting, like to put on a show for the crowd, so I think this one's going to be fun. It's kind of it is a short-term fight. Yeong Lee was originally supposed to fight Trevor Peek, and then that got canceled. He was supposed to fight Gavin Tucker, and then that got canceled. So now he's taking on Daniel Santos, who was supposed to fight Davey Grant about a month ago, but he had to pull out due to weight cutting issues or something like that. So Yeong Lee's got the full camp in this one. Daniel Santos coming in a month out of a canceled fight. So had a recent camp, but who's to say what's happened since that fight got canceled and this one got booked? Was he staying ready? Was he looking to take a short notice fight? Who knows? But I think we'll obviously find out in this fight. But Yeong Lee coming off of a loss to Hyder Emil. That was back in July. They just started banging off the rip, and Yeong Lee he hurt Hyder Emil there for a second, but then Hyder Emil started landing just massive blows, got him against the cage, tons of unanswered punches. I'm like, it's not the best showing for Yeong Lee to get KO'd like that, but I mean, dude's got a hell of a chin. The fact that he didn't even get knocked down, didn't get put out cold, taking flush shots from Hyder Emil, got standing TKO'd. You know, dude's got a chin on him. That's all I'm gonna say. But coming off of a loss, knockout loss, you know, he's taking some time off, getting back in there, taking a decent amount of time off, which I like to see. He's young in his career, so not hopping right back in there. Only 29 years old. He's 5'10" with a 73-inch reach, and the size differential in this fight is going to be huge because Yeong Lee is a 145er, and Daniel Santos is moving up in weight on short notice to take this fight. He is going to be 5'7" with a 67-inch reach. So Yeong Lee is going to have a 6-inch reach advantage in this one, as well as a 3-inch height advantage. But Yeong Lee, you know, he's a finisher. 4 wins under 42 seconds. Very good striker on the feet. Good movement, really bouncy on the balls of his feet. Will stand and bang in the pocket. Good strikes when he steps in. He's just very fast and powerful. Mixes it up really well to all levels. Has really good body shots. Was ripping to the body of Blake Bilder, hurting him early. And again, was hurting Hyder Emil in that fight before he got caught. And Hyder Emil, you know, he's a very good fighter. Still undefeated, 11-0, coming off of a very good performance over William Gomez. So no real shame in that loss, honestly. But Lee's a jiu-jitsu black belt. He's shown pretty good wrestling. He was really tested against Ji Ha in their fight. Had to defend a lot of takedowns. Was very back and forth, a lot of good scrambles. He did get controlled in the first round, but was able to do a little bit better in the second and third. And won a controversial split decision. I think he landed more damage for the win, but did start to gas kind of in that fight too. But I can understand that it was a very high pace in that fight. But really looked good in his performance after that against Blake Bilder. Had a really good. Did a really good job defending the takedowns and really just all-around dominated Blake Bilder. And he has a 76% takedown defense. So despite the takedowns and the takedowns that he gave up against Ji Ha, he's still got, you know, a really good takedown defense ratio. But taking on Daniel Santos, who I'm very high on. I think Daniel Santos is very good. I think he's got a bright future. So it's kind of frustrating to me when I see these guys that I think are, you know, on the come up and have a lot of potential when they take short notice fights. He fights out of shoot to box. He's kind of like, I call him the diet Charles Oliveira, because he trains with him. He fights a lot like him. A lot of those guys fight very similar, but has a good chin. He was rocked a lot by Castaneda. He was eating like flush high kicks, getting dropped with left hands. He got dropped several times in that fight before he, you know, survived and came back and won it. But it is kind of concerning that he took a lot of damage from something like John Castaneda, who I don't think is as good on the feet wise as Yeong Lee, but he's very aggressive, you know, with his forward pressure, which is typical of shoot to box fighters. Puts on a very high pace, very dynamic with his strikes, high kicks, front kicks, wheel kicks, spinning attacks. Just tough as nails. Dude brings it every time. Just gets in there and, you know, puts it all on the line and goes out on the shield if needed. But I do wish he set up his strikes a little bit more with feints. Sometimes he just kind of wings them at times with power. Aren't the most straight, aren't the most technical, kind of allows them to be open to counters. In terms of grappling, he had good scrambles against Castaneda, but he was getting held down at times. And I know Yeong Lee, he's going to be the bigger guy. He is pretty good on the ground. Like I said, jiu-jitsu black belt. He can control guys when he gets them there. And Daniel Santos, primarily a striker. He's only a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, which is concerning that he's, you know, this high level in the UFC, but only a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. I just feel like he could be outclassed by a lot of the fighters at 135, and especially 145 when he's giving up 10 pounds. But can push a high pace with a lot of volume. And that is a concern of mine, because Yeong Lee, he was really gassing. Really gassing, but you could tell he was getting tired in that very high-paced fight against Yijia. And Daniel Santos has shown an ability to take damage, take strikes, and just kind of be able to overwhelm guys like we saw in the John Castaneda fight. So another thing with Daniel Santos, and another one of the main reasons I'm going to go with Yeong Lee is Daniel Santos just doesn't fight very often. He hasn't fought since almost 2 years, June of 2023. He's had a lot of fight cancellations due to, you know, injuries, and in the last one, a weight cutting issue. Like I said, he pulled out of the fight with Davey Grant due to a weight cutting issue. So who knows if he was injured going into the camp, and therefore was very heavy, couldn't make the weight. We don't really know. But the fight before that against Said Nurmagomedov, he had to pull out due to an injury. And the fight before that against Daniel Marcos had to pull out from the fight due to an injury. So that's just concerning to me, is, you know, how many injuries is this guy going into this fight with? Did he have a lingering injury that didn't allow him to make it to the Davey Grant fight, and now he thinks he's better and he's going into this one? So it's just, there's too much stacked against him in this one. And that's why I got to go with Lee. He's moving up in weight to 145 pounds. He's taking this on short notice. He can be hurt and he can be countered on the feet. We saw that in his fight with Castaneda. He was beat technically in one of his last fights against Julio Arce, who I think is very high level, Julio Arce, but he just kind of beat him technically on the feet, which I think can happen in this one, because Yeong Lee, he's a very good tactician on the feet, and I don't think Daniel Santos is really going to be shooting takedowns. I think this is going to be a stand-up affair. I think if it goes to the ground, it's going to be Lee, the one shooting takedowns, because he knows he's bigger, he's had a full camp, he's the better grappler, and I think that, you know, he might use that and keep that in his back pocket on this one and really push a pace against Daniel Santos, who may not have the best cardio because he hasn't been training. He hasn't been training for this fight, and again, he's going to be the smaller guy. I just think Lee's the crisper, more technical guy on the feet with straighter punches. I think he can get the counters off of, at times, Daniel Santos' looping punches. He's going to have a 6-inch reach advantage. And again, my concern would be, in this fight, if Daniel Santos had a full camp, is can Yeong Lee handle the pressure and the pace? But I wonder if Santos is going to be able to push that normal pace, again, taking this on short notice. So I think Lee's going to be able to manage his pressure on the back foot and even meet his pressure with his own, because he does a very good job of pressuring guys, getting him against the cage, utilizing his reach, utilizing his range, and piecing guys up on the feet. He's very good. He's got a lot of KO wins. And I think he'll have the footwork and the ability to kind of deal with the pressure and the marauding style that Daniel Santos is going to bring. I wouldn't be surprised to see Santos come out like a bat out of hell, try to get him out of there early like we saw against Hyder Mill. Him knowing that this guy's probably he's going to be a little tentative, concerned about his chin coming in off of a 65-second KO loss in his last fight. But I think if he does, I think Lee will be able to wear the storm. I think he'll be able to match the aggression and the pressure of Santos. And I think he can get this one done. I think he can find his chin. Like I said earlier, if John Castaneda is finding his chin that often, I think he'll be able to get the fight. Looking back on Castaneda's career, I worry about, or I think about how much of how good is his fight IQ, just looking at some of, like, especially his last performance with just some of the decisions he made. So I feel like somebody like Lee, who's very good, especially on the feet, I feel like if he gets Santos hurt like that, he can get him out of there. So I'm going to go with Jeong Yeong Lee to get the win. Thanks.